Ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Plop, 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 plop. Ba-da-da-da. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, 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 and welcome to Morning Light. My name is Lee Cara, and here at Morning Light, we like to purposefully and proactively connect with divine every single day, and then we consciously from self-awareness and collective awareness, expand that light outward and change the world. You in? Welcome, everyone. Welcome, 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 and good morning. If it is not morning where you are, it is definitely morning somewhere. Come on now. Are we going to work? Hold on, hold on. Oh, every time I do this. Okay, figured it out. It's a new computer and new software, y'all. I'm doing my very best. I'm okay. All right. So I do record these live, but it may not be morning where you are. It's barely morning here, according to some. I'm a late sleeper usually. So if it's not morning where you are, feel free to watch these in the morning. I don't date them. They don't. They are not connected to specific periods in time. So whatever title appeals to you, jump on in and watch me in the morning. Let's together connect to that divine, okay? So let's look at our agenda for today. First, we're going to turn on our light, and that's where we're going to go within. We're going to connect to divine. We're going to get that going in us for the day. We're going to push it outwards and shine our light. Every single show, I pick a different topic. I've been picking some fancy ones. Today's a little bit harder, but still not as advanced as we're going. And we shine our light, we shift our perspective, we change the way we look at things, and we change the world. Then we're going to chitty chat for just a minute to kind of shake off that really thick connection to kind of ease it out a little bit. We're just going to chitty chat and catch up. Then we'll have a rune of the day, kind of just let you know what to focus on, what's going on, how we can join this together, how we can like use those different flows and waves of energy that come through to our advantage. Then we're going to jump into something called diffuse the news. It's a little bit of a deeper dive, a little bit. It's a deeper dive into that space where we were shining our light. We're going to look at the news not from a space of right and wrong, but rather from a space of divine perspective. And then we are just going to shine our light all over this stuff. Okay. It's not easy, but it's very important. I believe it's our role here as light workers, light workers. Okay, then we jump into some live readings. If there's anybody here, I'll pull a card or two for the room. If you're here, you can type in you're open and you can get a reading. Fair warning, the little population thing for the chat, very slow, very slow. I'm going to wait a little longer today because last time I had a couple people say that they were open and it didn't show up until after I went off of the live stream. So all right. Our mission here at Morning Light, at Unleash Your Light, is to change the world by shifting our own perspective, seeing ourselves and others through the divine light, through divine eyes. Because how you look at a thing changes that thing. That is a scientific ideal that a thing that is observed is changed by the observer. And so the way that we look at things changes the world, changes the room, changes the energy around that thing. And just by changing how we look at it, we change the entire world. We are all connected. Divine creator, source, God, call it whatever you like. It is the energy of life, the spark of creation that animates all things, the frequency of unconditional love, a Mobius strip of continuously fueling the of us carries that light within us. It is the electricity that's in our brains. It is the energy that lights up our body. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, and therefore that energy is a part of the collective energy, the entire energy, and we're just a little piece, and yet we are also the whole. We are each the whole, playing our own single individual part in this story of life. So, the energy of divine is unconditional love, which is what? We each carry a direct line to the light simply by turning on our joy and allowing it to shine from within us. That light is the unconditional love, love without conditions. And many people misconstrue what unconditional love is. It doesn't mean no boundaries. It doesn't mean that people get to take advantage of you. It doesn't mean that you are loving things that are hurtful to other people, although we are, but not in the way, not in the happy, joyful, loving kind of a way. It's a little bit different. Think of it as the deepest mother's love times infinity. Many of us didn't have that sort of mother who was unconditional with their love. And yet, because we are divine, because you are spiritual, because you are here listening, you probably do understand the concept of it. That divine love, where it looks at our worst points and loves us through it. Like we do for our children if you're a parent. That space of love without conditions doesn't mean approval without conditions. Doesn't mean condoning everything that people do, but it means still seeing them through those divine eyes of love. If your child commits a crime, usually you still love them, even though you see their crime clearly. As we love self, capital S self, we are worshiping at the altar of our own creation. We created ourself and this illusion to live through, to experience, and to expand the knowledge and the consciousness of the universe. We are creating reality with our thoughts and our actions. If you believe that you are manifesting reality in your own life, then by extension, your thoughts in the world are also manifesting the 3D reality for the collective, which is why what we do here is so important. Because let me tell you, some of you guys are very powerful manifestors, right? And I know you believe this in your own life. Do you look at the rest of the world that way? Right? So if you're a powerful manifester, how many things do you manifest by accident? I have a family member who can manifest bad things by thinking about them and manifest good things by thinking about them and doesn't remember that they did it until the thing comes and they are reminded. Didn't you say you wanted XYZ? Didn't you say you wanted this, that, and the other? And all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, that's right, without even trying, really. And I know some of you out there are really trying to manifest that life that you want. And so we need to pay attention to what we're manifesting when we're off the clock, when we don't think we're doing purposeful work. How many times a day do you say this world is shit? How many times a day do you say people are assholes? How many times a day do you say everybody, Earth is going to hell in a basket? How many times do you say my neighborhood is garbage? How many times do you say people are horrible? Right? Every time you reinforce what you see with your 3D eyes, you are cementing it into the 5D. You are manifesting that. This is one of the reasons why we have to be so incredibly aware and vigilant of our own thoughts and our own creations, and to embrace the power that each of us have individually to make change in this world. And that is what we do here at Morning Light. We are purposefully and proactively connecting with that light. So let's jump into it and do it. Let's turn on our light. Okay. We're going to take just a moment and breathe deeply and be right here where you are. Be right here in this space. And I want you to think of something that brings you joy, not just happiness, but that moment, that awestruck moment where you see something like the most beautiful view, or a puppy or a baby, just think that makes you so awestruck joy. And when you pull that feeling, I want you to hold it for as long as you can. If you're doing it correctly, you will be beyond words. We are looking for the moment of joy that takes us beyond the words of, look at that cute puppy. We want that feeling that comes first before the words come. And I want you to sit this for as long as you can. Now, for some of you, you may have to start over and over again. You might have to grab that unconditional joy over and over again. Every time I do it, I don't know if you can see, but we get the goosebumps because I'm fully pulling that space and that moment. Some of you might have to pause this because you're able to hold that feeling for so long. That feeling, that joy beyond words, is the connection to the divine. That is the space where you are completely tuned in that second beyond words. Or if you can stretch it, those 20 seconds, those 50 seconds, that 3 minutes, that 10 minutes, that is that direct connection to divine. So I want you to grab it again and hold it for as long as you can. And I want you to start visualizing yourself shining from the inside out. Deep at your core, in your heart, you see a light that starts and it fills your entire silhouette with beautiful light. And it fills the room that you're in. It fills your home. It fills the street that you live on, your neighborhood. This light that you are pushing outward fills your town. It fills the state or the province that you live in. It fills your country. It surrounds the entire planet, this beautiful golden light and that feeling of the unconditional love beyond us, encompassing our entire planet, shining like a beacon in the darkness, the beacon that we are. Now that your light is fully turned on and you are pumping with it, we're going to take that light and we're going to focus on our issue for the day. So I want you to sit in that light. You filled the entire earth. Your light is shining everywhere. You got the little tingles. You're feeling good, right? You're feeling good. Today, we're going to focus on that issue that we're addressing today. Today's issue is war. This is not an easy issue that we're working on, although we are going to be on a flyover from the observer position, okay? So here's what we're going to look at. You are your beautiful, glowing self right now. And I want you to see in your mind war, however you see it. We actually have several going on in our planet right now. Kind of the most pressing one is the war between Russia and Ukraine. So I want you to see the soldiers on both sides. Both sides have soldiers who were children, who were sweet little boys and sweet little girls, whose mothers loved them. These are not children who grew up wanting to kill. Maybe something happened in their lives that drove them towards the army. Maybe they're there involuntarily. But what we're going to do right now is we are going to hold that little child that is so terrified to be in the war, that is so scared of these things that they are doing, that is so ashamed that they are killing, that they are wounding. And yes, many of these soldiers carry a bravado and a self-defense mechanism, but they are children. They are children. They are children. Now let's look to those. We're going to expand and look to those who are leading the war, those men in their ivory towers who point and say, go kill. Whomever that is in your mind, encompass them in your light. See them as the children, the scared children that they are, and embrace that scared child. And know, with the intention, divine can fill their heart, divine can heal them, divine can open their heart to the emotions that they've hidden away because of their own trauma and pain. Know that this is Focus your light on it. All right. Very, very nice. Ooh, let's pull that all back in. Let's kind of revel in this beautiful light a little bit, huh? All right. We're going to just take a few minutes, feel ourselves here again instead of out flying over Ukraine, Russia, Africa, wherever it is that you were focused on in your mind, Venezuela. All right. Whew. How is everybody doing today? How are we doing? How are you feeling? What is going on in your world? I know that we have just passed, I believe we just passed the equinox. We're coming out of like 6 retrogrades. I mean, it is definitely, it's been a very fascinating time over the past several months for sure. Oh my goodness. Ah, gosh. We're gonna move on in just a second. I just need to give myself a little moment. Um, I'm drinking coffee today in my giant mug. Yes, it is almost the same size as my head. My oldest son bought me a set of these and I treasure them. It's probably been 8 years, but I have not lost one. I have not broken one. That's huge. And I've moved since then too. Like, so that's pretty huge. I think I've moved twice since he's gotten me these. So that's pretty big for me. So all right, let's just move into the next thing and let's grab a rune for today. All right. So let's jump right in and grab a rune for the day. That's a little one. It's a bitty bitty one. All right. We are here with Perth. And let me make sure that y'all can see it. There we go. Okay, yeah. There we go. All right. So this rune is Awaz. And Awaz is the rune of defense. Okay. So let's take just a moment and look at what the book says about this. I've been using this particular book since the 90s. Not everyone likes it. That's okay. All right, let's see. As we are tested, we fund the power to avert blockage and defeat. And at the same time, we develop an aversion to the conduct that creates that stress. So if there's an obstacle in your life, consider that delay to be beneficial. Think of it like a pause in the road that is necessary before you move forward. You might be stopping because there's going to be a tractor trailer crossing any minute. You might have to stop because you need to change your tires or put on maybe some snow chains. There's a lot of reasons why things that we're going through pause and why things that we're pushing forward often pause. So really pay attention to this. It is really saying to you to be patient. Do not be overly eager to press forward because this is not a time or a situation where you can even make your influence felt. It speaks about those difficulties at the beginning and the waiting, like watching the most perfect piece of fruit on a branch ripen and wanting to pick it every day. Oh, those of you who eat mangoes, this is the rune of the mango. All right. And if you know, you know. I'm going to describe it to those of you who don't eat mangoes. A mango is a tropical fruit that might be the most delicious fruit on the planet. Okay, that's my personal opinion. It's not a scientific fact, but a mango has this color on the outside that's green. And as it ripens, it starts to turn red. It gets a little bit mushy. And on the inside, this light orangey kind of fruit, salmon colored fruit that's in there, it gets sweeter and sweeter the longer you let it ripe. It gets softer and softer the longer you let it ripen. And if you cut into a mango too soon, you've wasted it because it won't be sweet in the way that it should be. It won't be soft in the way that it should be. The juices won't, like the way that they should. You waste it. So that's what this rune is saying to you, to wait in that space, not of frustrated impatience, but rather that preparation and knowing what direction you're going in and knowing what space you're stepping into next. And if you don't know, that's where your pause can come in. You sit there and you wait for that mango to ripen. Yes, yes, yes. I love mangoes too. I find them a little bit difficult. I do find them a little bit difficult, but I love them. I do love them. All right. So we have our rune of the day. We know that it is time for us to be patient because we are at the beginning of this next cycle. So we don't want to force it. We don't want to push it through. We don't want to make it happen. We want to sit in our own preparedness, waiting for that mango to ripen. All right, let's jump into this next space. Um, let's see, we're gonna go over here. Diffuse the news. Now, this is the more difficult one, and if this is not your cup of tea, feel free to either fast forward to the next spot where I'm going to do readings, or I'll see you the next time you jump in. So, diffuse the news. How we look at an issue can shift reality. We were just speaking about this earlier. Some of you out there are powerful manifestors, and the way that you see the world around you is actually affecting the world around you without even realizing it. We're going to be taking a look at stories in the news, a particular story in the news, and actively diffusing that story through unconditional love. We're not debating right and wrong, but rather we're focusing on our own light, shining it on the wounds of the world, and focusing on its healing. And this work is not for the faint of heart. It requires a willingness to embrace the sins of the world as our own. As our own. Jesus takes the sins of the world upon his own shoulders. We are viewing the world through the eyes of Jesus, through the eyes of divine. And so we are embracing the sins of the world as our own. And we are loving the perpetrators beyond this 3D reality. So we are going to connect with the piece of divine within the perpetrator and love it and remind it of what it is. Remind that piece of divine that it does have a little bit of influence still inside of that shell that it wears. So today, what we're going to focus on is Putin. Yes, I said it, Putin, Putin. So we focused on war in the earlier one, where we were shining on our light and shining our light outward. We saw those who fight in the wars as small children, and we saw those who perpetrate wars as small children. So here's what we're going to step into next. I am not saying right or wrong, although I have my opinions. I am not saying left or right, although I have my opinions. You'll probably be able to guess what they are. But what we're going to do right now is we are going to focus our energy and our light on Putin. And I know that's a very strange thing to do, but we're doing it. We're doing it. So jump in with me. Follow my logic for a moment and then shine with me, okay? Okay. Putin is a leader in a country that has gone through many, many changes over the past 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 decades, 100 years. It's gone from being a very free country with a monarchy, mostly free country, able to worship lots of painting, lots of art, lots of artistic and cultural um, uh, persuasions. Then they were overtaken. Monarchy gone, new government. That government got progressively cracked down and got more and more tight with the freedoms, more and more tight with the art, more and more oppressive with the culture, until they were unrecognizable from those families, those czars. back from the late 1800s, early 1900s. So now we push forward into the 80s, and the Western world pushes against Russia, pushes against it, begging, please tear down the wall. Please be a part of our community. Let's not be at odds. Let's not fight anymore. Let's be friendly. Let's be together. Let's be partners on this earth. We've been like this. Now let's be like this. And so the leader at the time did that. Mikhail, oh, the name just went right out of my head, and opened Russia to the rest of the world, brought down the wall, which influenced, it brought down the wall in Germany, brought down the Iron Curtain around Russia. Now that leader gone, another leader comes into power. This is a leader who has spent their entire life being pushed aside. I want us to imagine, to envision Putin and see him through these eyes. He rose to power and took control, and inch by inch brought Russia backwards, taking away rights and freedoms to revitalize what he thought of as Mother Russia from his childhood, where he bought in 100% to every story of nationalism and love for your country, love for the motherland, respect for the motherland, that power is the most important thing. He grew up in this time and embraced that. He wanted to be important. I don't know if you've seen him standing next to other world leaders, but he's rather a short man, which I would assume probably affected his career. I always think about height in the world of men being a lot like maybe weight or being pretty in the world of women, that tall men, taller men probably tend to get a little bit of an advantage over those who are, short kings. I love a short king. My ex was a short king. Putin is not quite short enough to be a short king, but I would assume that when you are surrounded by military, working in all of these spaces, being the shortest one in the room or close to the shortest one in the room, it probably makes you feel some type of way. So we're going to look at Putin as not a short king, but rather a man who feels insecure because of his shortness, a man who is fearful that others are looking at him and judging, a man who is scared, a child who is scared that everything they know will be destroyed if they don't do what they need to do, a boy who is terrified that everyone will laugh at him if he fails. This is the only way for this boy, Putin, to find love, is through the approval of those men around him, even though he probably shuns them. He probably pushes aside their opinions. In his heart, he's a scared little boy who just wants people to see him and respect him. And that doesn't justify anything that he's done. But we all know someone in our life who is like this, who makes stupid choices and stupid decisions over and over again to try to prove themselves, like, I'm really a man, or I know what I'm doing, right? See Putin through those eyes right now. And we're going to connect through that 5D connection, that piece of divine that is in him, that is in us, where we are connected to all others on the planet. And I want you to walk up towards that small child, that small Putin child inside, and give him a hug. You are safe. You are protected. Respect is not what brings you love. Opening your heart and embracing others with kindness and compassion is what will make you feel safe. And I want you to shine your light all over. Embrace that child. Wrap them in your beautiful light. Baby Putin. All right. All right. All right. All right. Thank you so much for doing that with me, you guys. I know that that is not an easy thing, but I really think that it's incredibly important that every time that we see something on the news, especially that makes us angry, that we take a moment to diffuse it, right? Okay. Let's jump into our last section here. I have some tarot cards. We're going to do a little bit of a reading, and I will pull some cards for the day. I'm going to ask to clarify our AWAs from earlier, that rune of self-defense, that rune of patience, understanding and knowing how to sit and wait. All right, here, let me put on my, if you would like a reading, please text that you are open. If anybody jumps in, give me a moment or so to see it, because what I discovered yesterday is that this is very slow. This computer, the way that it does things, it's very, it doesn't show the comments until quite a while afterwards. Okay, so tell me this hurt. Give me a little bit of clarification on this space at the beginning where we're waiting in preparedness. Give me a card to clarify that perth. There we go. And clarify that perth for me. One more. I see you. One more. Okay. Okay. So we have the Seven of Cups. There we go. And we have the Eight of Rods. So these are both clarifying that AWAS that we pulled earlier that was about self-defense, about recognizing the obstacles not as something to fight, but rather as a pause in the road, more like a traffic light or a stop sign. Okay. And so along with that, we have this Seven of Cups. And I think that this is, I'm asking to clarify, this is why you need to pause. Okay. If you look at this card, every one of these little cups has a different thing in it, right? Seven of Cups. Every one of these cups has a different little thing in it. One has a rainbow, one has looks like flowers, a person, and a paintbrush or something, just different things. Because this Seven of Cups speaks about all the options that you have. All of the options that you have. And you may be moving too quickly in the wrong direction. You may not be looking at all of your options. You might be trying to move forward and prove yourself. Yes, like we were talking about Putin. You might be trying so hard to move forward and prove yourself to the rest of the world, or even to yourself, that you are moving too quickly. You are moving too quickly, maybe even too quickly in the wrong direction. You are moving yourself towards heartbreak. If you are moving so quickly, you need to allow that space, that pause, not pause, but pause, like stop, to really jump in and to filter through your entire body, right? Because when we get in that state of pushing forward, no matter what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get this. Sometimes we blind ourselves to what's actually going on. Sometimes all we can see is that goal line. And we're not seeing that there's a way to get in behind us, that we can exit over here on the left, that there might be a couple of pits with alligators, like in the Pitfall game from back in the day, that we have to jump over, right? So just try to keep your eyes on the spaces that are the building spaces, that are the moments of pause, because those are the moments where you're actually going to get prepared for the next space. And by doing that, preparing yourself and being ready, you're not rushing into anything. You see all sides. So what can we focus on What can we focus on to help us be patient? What can we focus on to help us be patient? Okay. To help us with our patience, we have the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Rods. This is about defense. Nine of Rods is about defense. And it's the space before we take down our wall, essentially. So the Nine of Wands, Nine of Rods, is like the wall that we've built around ourselves, is like the defensive space that we have around ourselves that allows us to operate. And this one, the nine, is the space right before we tear down that wall. Because the next card is the Ten of Wands, where this person is carrying all of those wands on their back because they have picked up their wall and they are at the end of their cycle. They're taking their wands and they are throwing them off a cliff. But they're taking their wands and they're no longer allowing the walls to hold them back. They're dropping the burdens and opening themselves up to experience. And we do that by embracing our own creative spirit. We do that by embracing the magician. You can see that the magician has the infinity symbol over his head. They also have every single one of the suits. Oh, my computer is about to fall on my head. They also have every one of the suits. So there are cups, pentacles, rods, and whatever the other one is. I'm sorry, my brain went blank. So it has all four of the suits here. Oh, and swords. It has all four of the suits here because it is creating with all elements of earth, right? And the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is a detached queen who knows her worth, knows that she has the goods, and sits in a space of detachment, knowing that all is well. Okay, so my question was, how can we use this space of perth, of pause? What are we using it for? How can we do this? And it is to tear down our walls as we move forward into the next space. If your wall is up when you step into the next lesson, you don't get your new lesson. You get the same lesson that put your wall there. Okay? Build a new wall. Give yourself some glass windows, right? Make a fuzzy wuzzy, I'm going to hug the fence, it's beautiful kind of a space around you, knowing that you are protected by the light. You are protected by divine. You have created a wall because of the pain that you've been through. Don't allow the pain of your past to keep you trapped inside. Know that you are protected. Know that you are divine. Know that your space of objectivity allows you to experience all of this without diving into the pain that you carry with you. All right, y'all. So another morning showdown, episode 4. I am super grateful for you guys. This is where I do all of the businessy stuff. And let's see here now. I got distracted. There we go. This is where I do all of the busy stuff. So I'm gonna say before I start all the businessy stuff, if you want to go, you are beloved, you matter, and you are so very loved. All right. So again, my name is Lee Cara. I've been doing a show called Unleash Your Light right here on Facebook for approximately 5, almost 6 years now. And so this was kind of an offshoot of the Unleash Your Light show. Unleash Your Light Ministries is dedicated to bring a message of unconditional love and connection with divine. You can go to unleashyourlight.org and dive into any of these messages for free. I have over 200 messages on YouTube on topics ranging from being an empath and survival tips to forgiveness, to self-awareness, to loving yourself, watching the news. Can you be Christian and spiritual at the same time? I have hundreds of shows that you can jump into to get all messages. If you go to the website, are categorized underneath the some little pictures, and you just pick which one appeals to you and you can go and watch them. I will never put the message or the lessons that I give behind a paywall. The light of the universe is always free. But that means that when I give readings, when I do classes, anything that I do is guided by divine. And so I don't do it for pay. I do it because the divine tells me to. So if you want a reading, free to reach out. And if the universe tells me to give you a reading, then I certainly will. I do accept donations, but I don't put anything behind a paywall. However, you can visit my website. That helps. You can sign up for the newsletter. That helps. If you read some of the blogs, if you watch some of the videos, if you scroll through some of the ads, if you click on some of my affiliate links and download some free spiritual text, all free, 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 that helps. That spreads the word. That gets the message out there. The more that you engage with, the more that Google thinks good stuff. Okay. So the more that Google will send this to other people so that we can spread the word of divine and spread that light out into the universe. And again, you are beloved, you matter, you are so very loved.